coming at you once again. Today we are going to talk about simplifying radicals. Make sure you guys take some notes. Okay, this is going to be an important concept. Radicals are the most simplified way to write something typically. We never like decimals. Okay, radicals are the way of the math world. Okay, radicals, an example would be like a square root, for example, this, or a cube root like this. Remember, there's actually an invisible 2 here. So if there's nothing written up there on the little handle for the radical, make sure you know it's a 2. All right, so let's talk about how to simplify radicals. I'm going to do the example, 2 different examples for you guys, maybe 3. So here would be a radical, the square root of 20. Now, obviously, you can put this in your calculator and you can get an answer. But the answer is going to be a decimal. So we definitely don't want a decimal as our answer. If you put it in there, our answer would be 4.472135955, yada, yada, yada. So go ahead and put it in your calculator and see what you get. 4.4721, yada, 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 yada. Okay? So put it in there and see what you get. But we don't want that answer. We want to put it in the simplest radical form possible. And by simplest, it means you're going to pull out as many numbers as you can and leave the smallest number inside the radical sign that you possibly can. And the way we do that is by using a factor tree. Okay, so here's what I mean by factor tree. You look at the number 20 and you ask yourself, what are any 2 numbers you can think of that multiply to get 20? And we'll do this answer with 2 different methods just so you can see that it works. So any 2 numbers that multiply to give 20. A lot of students are saying 4 times 5. 4 times 5 is 20. Okay? You're going to keep factoring this. This is called a prime factor tree. Prime factor tree, because we're looking for prime numbers. Once you get to a prime number, you can stop. Okay, so let's go ahead and start at this 4. Is 4 prime? No. Okay. Remember, a prime number is a number that can only be divided by 1 and itself. Other than that, it can't be divided evenly by a number. But 4 could be divided by 2. So what are 2 numbers, any 2 numbers that multiply to get 4? 2 and 2. Okay. Is 2 prime? Yes. So we're going to stop there. All right, go down to the 5. What 2 numbers multiply to get 5? Well, 5 is already prime, so we can leave 5 alone. All right. Here's the trick. Whatever your number is right here on the radical sign, okay? In this case, mine's invisible, so it's an invisible 2. I'm going to go ahead and just write a 2 there so we remember we're dealing with the square root. Whatever that number is, you're looking for 2 of them, and then you can pull it out as a 1. So here is what our final answer is going to look like. It's going to have a number on the outside right here, and it's also going to have a number probably on the inside there. Okay, what's on the outside is whatever you're able to pull out. So I have 2 2s, so I'm going to cross them out. But I'm going to bring it out as 1 2. Okay, so you're looking for pairs. You're looking for groups of 2 because that was the number that your radical is. And once you find a pair, you cross them off and write it on the outside of the radical as 1. Anything that doesn't have a pair, okay, this 4 has already been branched off of, so we're done. But that 5, that was one of our prime numbers. If it doesn't have a pair, you're going to toss it on the inside. Okay, now this is your answer, 2 square roots of 5. Now I want you to go ahead and put that in your calculator. That's just literally 2 times the square root of 5. And you should get the same answer, 4.4721, yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's how you know that you got it right. So 2 square roots of 5 is the answer. All right, let's just do this one more time. Okay, so here is one way, starting off with 4 times 5. Let's say the square root of 20 again, but instead of doing 4 times 5, let's do 2 times 10. Okay, 2 is already prime, but 10 is 5 and 2. Okay, so now we still have prime numbers, and it looks like we have the exact same prime numbers. So once again, go ahead and cross off any pairs, pull it out on the outside, and any non-pairs, stay on the inside. And look, we got the same answer. Even though we didn't multiply by the same things in the beginning, we started off with 4 times 5 here, and then this one we went to 2 times 10. Once you get to the prime numbers, you're always going to have the same prime numbers and be able to get the same answer. So if I ask you to simplify the square root of 20, you make a factor tree, and your answer here is 2 square roots of 5. All right. Go ahead and I'm going to give you one to do on your own. I want you to pause the video really fast, and then I'll do it quickly for you. Let's just say we did the square root of 28. You go ahead and give this one a shot. Pause the video. All right, hopefully you've given yourself a chance to do 28, and you said, okay, I'm going to find two numbers that multiply. I'm looking for a 2's because this is an invisible 2. So two numbers that multiply to get 28. I don't know what you chose, but I'll choose 14 and 2. And this is our 2's already prime, so now we can go 7 and 2, and 7 is also prime. Okay, so remember, if you have a pair, cross it off and pull it out. And if you don't have a pair, I like to circle it and leave it in. And this should have been your answer. Put in 2 square roots of 7 in your calculator and see what you get. And then plug in the square root of 28, see what you get. And hopefully both times you get 5.2915, yada, 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 yada. All right, so there's examples with square roots. Let's talk about what if it was a cube root, right? So let's do the cube root of, let's say, I don't know, 32. Okay, the cube root of 32. Notice we have a 3 here instead, but we're going to make a factor tree first. Okay, so let's go ahead and just make our complete factor tree. Okay, so I'll say 16 and 2, okay, and then I'll say 8 and 2, and then I'll say 4 and 2, and then I'll say 2 and 2. So I did that kind of quickly, but you can see I'm just figuring out what multiplies. And once you use a number, you can completely cross it off. That way it's not confusing to you. And it looks like we have a whole bunch of 2's, right? So here's a group of 3. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. So remember, I need a group of 3 because that's what my root was. So if I have a group of 3, I'm going to pull it out as 1. Okay. And then everything else that doesn't have a group of 3, which is these two, okay, I cross those off. These two will go on the inside, a 2, and you always multiply. If you have more than one thing, whether it goes outside or inside, you always multiply. So I have a 2 times 2 on the inside from both of these 2's. Final answer, 2, this is a cube root, by the way, 2 cube roots of 4. Okay, 2 cube roots of 4. Okay, that was the final answer for that one. So I found triplets, pulled them out as 1, and any non-triplet I was able to leave on the inside. Just make sure you always multiply. Okay, let's try a different one. And then also, if I had a 4th root or a 5th root, that literally just tells me how many I'm going to need before I can pull it out as 1. All right, let's do one more, and let's do a cube root again, just for funsies. Let's do the cube root of 128. Go ahead and give this one a shot on your own and see what you get, okay? It's always better if you practice on your own. So pause me. All right, right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and just divide this. It doesn't really matter, but my two numbers I chose are 32 and 4, okay? You could have chosen whatever. If you don't know how to find numbers, you could just divide 128 divided by 2. That means 2 times 64 also would have worked. So if they're not prime, go ahead and factor them out. Over here we got 2 and 2. Cross that off. Okay, 32, I could divide that. That could be 8 and 4 if I want it to be. It doesn't really matter. And 8 can go down to 4 and 2, and then 2 and 2. Cross that off, and this 4 is also 2 and 2. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of 2's. Okay, now my final answer I know is going to have a cube root in it, and I'm going to need triplets to pull it out. So there's 1, 2, 3, pull it out. 1, 2, 3. Remember, multiply. If you pull out multiple things, pull it out. And 1 left over, leave it in. Final answer, 2 times 2 is 4. Cube roots of 2. And you can put this in your calculator or that in your calculator and see if you don't get the same decimal answer. All right, video's long enough. Go ahead. I'm going to give you about 9 problems to practice. Have fun.